Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Josh, and today I am back answering more of your questions that I've gotten about my brand new 2023 Lexus NX350h. And today in particular, I wanted to pop on and do this video to address a lot of the questions I've been getting about what else was I considering, Toyota Venza, what else is on the list or was on the list, what should you be thinking about, what would I recommend you look at. And so what I wanted to do today with y'all is tell you about the other two cars that were in my top three alongside the Lexus NX, why I love them, why they were on the list, why I was seriously considering them. I actually had a $1,000 deposit down on one of them. And why I think that, if you're in the market for something like this, why both of them are great competitors and alternatives to the NX as well. So the first one is pretty obvious, and that is the Toyota Venza. That's going to be the first section here of this video. The second one, though, is a little bit of an oddball, maybe a little bit out of character, might be a little bit surprising from a channel called House of Toyotas, and that is the 2023 Honda CR-V Sport Touring Hybrid. So we'll start with the Venza because that is by far and away the number one car I've gotten questions about in relation to this NX. And then we'll move on to the CR-V. And I think you might want to stick around for the CR-V because it is a really interesting car and has been so greatly improved that I do think it is a worthy alternative to the Venza or the NX. And with that, let's dive into the first car here, the Toyota Venza. Now, I have to tell you guys, I have always loved the Venza. I love everything that it represents. I love the design. Even the first generation Venza, which was a very different kind of car. It was a mid-size crossover versus the current one, which is a compact crossover. To me, they both go after the same mission and they accomplish it really, really well in that what they're looking to do is offer a premium alternative to something like a RAV4 or something like a Highlander, right? You're going to buy the RAV4 because you need to haul stuff. You've got a family, you've got kids, you've got, you need a car that you can kind of make a mess in, right? And it's going to be fine. Same with the Highlander, right? You're going to buy that car because you've got lots of kids, you need 3 rows of seats, all that kind of thing. Where the Venza, I think, is really something like the NX, where it's a car for 2 people, right? A couple, maybe either you're younger without kids or you're retired and your kids have, gone off to have their own lives or anything like that. And you're looking for something that's a little bit more premium, nicer design, nicer touches, nicer materials, a little bit of an elevated design inside and outside. And you don't need a car or want a car that screams, I bought this for utility purposes, right? And again, that's very similar to what this NX offers. I have said to a lot of you in the comments that the NX is not the kind of car you buy if you have a family. If you need to use the back seat on a daily basis, this is not the car for you because it's just not, in my opinion, that big. Same with the cargo area in the back. With the Venza, with the NX, it's a lot smaller. You look at the body shape of these cars, they are very much aimed at a style-focused audience. They have a kind of raked roofline. They're lower. They are a little bit more sporty. And so they just don't offer the practicality that a RAV4 or a Highlander would. But for the audience that wants what the NX and the Venza offer, they are perfect because in addition to being a little bit more style-focused, better quality materials, more elegant premium design, they're still dead-ass reliable, they are still incredibly fuel efficient, and they still represent a really good bang for the buck. So that to me is where the Venza and the NX are really, really similar. And for the audience that wants a car that does that is like that, the Venza is an amazing choice. If you don't want or need the Lexus badge, or you don't care about things like a red interior, and stuff like that, the Venza is a really great choice. And contrary to popular belief, I see a lot of people in the comments who go, well, the Venza is just a nicer looking RAV4, but I think the assumption is that it's got the same level of refinement as a RAV4. And that's just not the case. The Venza is actually far closer to the NX than it is to a RAV4. And believe it or not, the Venza actually shares a lot of the same hardware refinement that the NX gets. So you've got more sound deadening material and isolation around the cabin. You've got more in the firewall. You've actually got the same plastic shrouding here around the window in the Venza as you do in the NX, and the materials look literally identical. The way that it's engineered here, the plastics, the way it fits into the window frame looks identical in the Venza to the NX. The other two things you get that I was really surprised about in the Venza are a full power steering column, even on the base LE trim, and you've got auto folding mirrors on the outside. That is something that you're not going to find on most Toyotas, but for some reason, the Venza has it. Again, it offers a more premium experience, not just in the cosmetic appearance, but actually in the driving characteristics as well. And all of that hardware refinement around the cabin, all the isolation, all these luxury trim features, the power folding mirrors, all of that more premium equipment comes together to create a much more refined and much more premium driving experience in the Venza than you get in the RAV4. It is actually eerily similar, I have to say, to the NX. A few of you guys will know that a couple weeks ago I was in Phoenix. I spent the week there for work, and I was driving a base Venza LE as my rental car through Hertz for work. And I drove that thing all of the Phoenix, Tempe, Mesa area for going to meetings and stuff like that. And I have to say, it was, again, eerily similar to the experience of driving my NX. And mind you, I left my house, I drove my NX to the airport, I got on the plane, I got off the plane, went to Hertz, picked up the Venza, got in the car and started driving around Phoenix. And I was like, oh my God, if I closed my eyes, I could be back home driving my NX. I mean, literally everything about the experience of driving that Venza, the sound profile, the way the car rode, literally rolled down the road, the feedback coming through the steering wheel, coming through the pedals, the way that the whole car drove, what I'm hearing from the outside world, outside the driver's window, because we have the same plastic shrouding, because we had the same, rubber gasket in the door jamb, all that, plus the upgraded hardware features. So when you park the car, the steering column would move out of your way. When you lock the car, the mirrors would fold in automatically. The whole experience of driving that Venza was eerily similar to the NX. So again, really, really impressive with the Venza, and I think that it's unfair to classify it as just like a nicer looking RAV4. You are getting meaningful improvement and refinement between the RAV4 and the Venza, and again, that's what makes the Venza really, really similar to the NX. Now, with all that said, where I think the Venza falls down is that it does get really expensive. So it's great if you want to buy an LE or an XLE or, whatever the mid trims are, where you're still under or around the $40,000 mark. But once you start to climb the ladder and you add, because you can get a head-up display, you can get digital mirror, you can get the 360 camera, you can get the giant Stargaze roof, and they are all really beautiful and probably the same parts really that are in the NX as well. But once you start adding all those features onto the Venza, you are really pushing the price up toward $50,000. I think now the Venza Limited with all the stuff, again, the roof and all that, costs around like 47, 48 grand. And that is a lot of money to be asking, not for a Venza, or not for the car you're getting, but for the badge. Because, in my head, $50,000 is sort of where I top out in terms of that's what I would pay for something with the Toyota badge on it. You might as well spend a few $1,000s more, right, and go get an NX. You might as well get the Lexus badge. It's not going to change the car all that much from a loaded Venza to like my NX, for example, but you're getting the premium Lexus service at the dealer. You're getting the loaner cars at service. You're getting all the premium experience that I think you deserve to get for a car that's going to be over $50,000 out the door. So that's where, in my opinion, the Venza makes a lot of sense if you are, again, if you can be happy with the LE or the XLE, Venza all day long, all the way. And I think you'll be really, really happy with it. And it's an amazing car to get. With all that said, though, the wild card with the Venza that you have to think about if you're in the market for one right now is that about 6 months ago, back in September, I believe, of 2022, Toyota globally announced the Venza plug-in hybrid. So now they've got, okay, the RAV4 Prime plug-in hybrid. You've got the NX 450h plug-in hybrid. In other world markets, they have a Suzuki Across plug-in hybrid as well. That thing is so funny. And now you've got a Venza plug-in hybrid. Now, Toyota is using very kind of ambiguous language about the Venza PHEV. They're saying things like, we have no news about the Venza PHEV coming to the US. At this time, we have no comment. At this time, we have no plans to bring it. That tells me that Toyota is gauging the market. They're sort of looking around to see how well is that 450h Plus selling. Is it too expensive? I have a whole video, and I will put a link in the description and thumbnail here. I have a whole video about why I didn't go with the 450h Plus. One of the reasons was it's too damn expensive. Without incentives, that car is about 60 to 65 grand. And that's a lot of money to be asking for something based on RAV4, in my opinion. But if the Venza plug-in hybrid could come in somewhere between like 48 to 55, that's a totally different story. And if you could get a Venza plug-in hybrid, again, for somewhere between a RAV4 Prime and a 450h Plus, that might be the really sweet spot financially and for what you're getting in the car. If there was a Venza Prime on the market when I bought, or if there was a Venza Prime on the market when I bought my car, I would have skipped the NX all day long and gone right for the Venza Prime. And I may or may not have my name on a list that my dealer may or may not have, so that if it comes here, I will trade this car in so quick for one of those Venza Primes. Again, no news. This is purely my speculation, but it is something to watch because Toyota has been known to use, again, look at the data, look at the customer sentiment. If that 450h Plus is not selling, which I don't know how it's doing right now, they may bring that in to drive, again, adoption of their plug-in hybrids. So we'll have to keep an eye on that, and it's something to keep in mind if you are in the market for a Venza. Now, with the Venza out of the way, let's get to the wild card. Let's get to the second car in this video that made up my top 3 when I was shopping for this car, and that is the 2023 Honda CR-V Sport Touring Hybrid. Now, right off the bat, I know we just spent how much time talking about how the Venza is a premium experience, is an elevated product above a RAV4, and the CR-V really does mostly compete with the RAV4, not the Venza. But the new CR-V, you guys, is so impressive, okay? It is not the CR-V that you're thinking in your head of. It is not the CR-V that most people know. I actually think that the new CR-V is really a totally different car than it ever has been in the past. I mean, it's just a more premium experience. What they've been doing recently, though, and the reason I think the CR-V is a worthy competitor to the Venza now, is because not only have they refined and made a more premium cosmetic product, but they've also made a more refined and premium driving experience in that CR-V hybrid than what you might get in a RAV4 hybrid. Honda's hybrid system has always been a little bit different from Toyota's in that the Honda system is mostly operating as a serial hybrid. Now, what that means in relation to Toyota's system, which is a parallel hybrid, is that Honda's system is mainly using the electric motor to drive the wheels. So when you're driving that car down the road, the engine isn't always directly in your driveline, and the things that are in your driveline are what's contributing to a lot of the noise and vibration and harshness. For example, when I'm driving my NX or the Venza or the RAV4 or the RX hybrid or any Toyota hybrid, as soon as you jet off the line in a 4-cylinder Toyota hybrid, you're gonna hear it and you're gonna feel it through the car. You're going to hear the sound, all that kind of thing. Because Honda's hybrid, though, on the other hand, does not have that little 4-cylinder directly in the driveline, it's really operating as a generator. So it's powering the electric motor the way that a battery would in a full EV. And the driving experience as a result in the Honda is far more refined, to the point where the drivetrain, combined with all the better materials, the more sound insulation, all that kind of thing in the new CR-V, I don't think it's an understatement to say that the CR-V hybrid now is more refined than this NX hybrid, because again, this NX hybrid, for as long as Toyota continues to use the hybrid system that's in this car, in the Venza, in the RAV, in the Corolla, in all their other cars that are not like the 500h Performance or the LS, you're going to have that unrefined 4-cylinder noise. It's going to constantly be, as soon as you jet off the line, it's going to make that unrefined sound. You're going to feel the vibration coming right through the steering wheel and the pedals and all that kind of thing. So Honda's system allows them to create a much more refined experience. And then on top of that, again, they layer on the better materials, the sound insulation, the better quality of the car. All of that comes together. That holistic driving experience, again, being honest with you, it is better than what you get in the NX. It is amazing. Now, I will say, with the CR-V, if premium and upscale is the name of your game, you do need to go all the way up to that Sport Touring Hybrid. That's where you're going to find the nicer trim and features, such as the nicest leather seats with contrast stitching. You can also get two-tone black and white seats in there as well. You're going to get the Bose stereo system, a lot of nice features, and altogether, it is a very nice package inside. The materials are top of the class and really, really beautiful to look at and touch. However, even on that top trim, Honda decided not to give it some of the nicer touches that you do find on the Venza, on the NX, and even in the RAV4 for that matter. And the 4 things that are missing that I think a lot of people might care about are a head-up display, a video rearview mirror, a panoramic moonroof, and a 360 camera. Those are all optional on the Venza, on the NX, and some of them are even optional on the RAV4. Those are not standard or optional on the CR-V, so you are not going to get them at all. On the other hand, because it doesn't have any of that, the price point of the CR-V is really nice. Even fully loaded, you are not even touching 40 on the MSRP yet. So it is by far the cheapest of the three cars that we've talked about today. The other thing that CR-V Sport Touring offers that the NX doesn't even offer at all, to my knowledge, is resonance reducing wheels. According to Honda's Info Center, the Sport Touring trim offers Honda's resonance reducing wheel technology. The way that works is it uses a foam resonator that's bonded to the inside of the wheel that sits inside the tire cavity of that wheel. And what it basically does is cancels out the noise from things like potholes and speed bumps, the kind of like da-doom noise. The foam resonator inside that wheel is taking that noise in and canceling it out before it can even escape from the tire and the wheel and up into the vehicle itself. So the CR-V, I think, is, again, if NVH is your biggest concern, if drivetrain refinement is your biggest concern in a new car, you have to go try out that new CR-V. It is going to be kind of an eye-opening experience for people who have a preconceived notion of what a CR-V is in their head. The new one is a totally different vehicle and is so incredibly impressive from Honda, which again is not Lexus, is a mainstream automaker. And you know, I think about that car sometimes as I'm driving my NX. I'm like, you know, that CR-V, I wouldn't be feeling that vibration right now. I wouldn't be, you know, kind of rolling my eyes at how unrefined it can be sometimes, because the CR-V just isn't in ways that the NX is. So, yeah. I hope that this answered all the questions. I hope that this kind of gave you all the insight in terms of my thoughts and feelings on the Venza, the NX, and then also, again, the wild card, the CR-V. Happy shopping, you guys. I know so many of you are in the market. I am so excited for you to find that perfect car, the one that's right for you. If it's not the NX, that is totally fine by me. If it's not the Venza, that's fine by me. If it's the CR-V, rock on. That is a great car again. The Venza is a great car too as well. So is the NX. But anyway, thanks again for watching. I appreciate it. Any comments and questions I didn't get to, please leave them downstairs. And again, if you want a comparison between the RAV4 and the NX, I am happy to do that. Those are very different cars, but a comparison might be interesting nonetheless. So yeah, I will talk to you guys soon. Have a wonderful one. Thank you again for watching and for all the support. I cannot tell you how much I appreciate it. Take care, you guys, and I will see you next time.